Welcome to another episode in the Quantum Human Summit series. This is expanding your multi-dimensional awareness. Oh my goodness, we are excited to be back in the company of the whales, the great whales, the ancient masters of our planet. My guest today is Latina Russell, and she has been working with the whales and whale consciousness and multi-dimensional communication for many years. And she is not only a psychic medium and a healer, but again, she is part of the Whale Unity Heart. We're going to meet Latina Russell here, and we welcome you, Latina. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Lauren. So beautiful to be here with you and your audience. Thank you for having me.
You have expanded your multidimensional awareness as you work with the whales. Share with us how you began to work with whale consciousness.
Thank you. So, Lauren, it's been a calling that I have had with the whales and the dolphins my whole life, since I was a little girl, actually. But it wasn't until I was able to understand what that meant. And actually, even when I was an adult, I didn't really understand what that meant. It was, they were always in my dreams. They were definitely calling me forth, and I was following the whispers of something I didn't know what it was, as many of us are, especially now, being called by the whales, and we're really feeling that we don't know what to do. So I wondered, do I work at SeaWorld? Do I become a marine biologist? What is it that I need to do? And it was not until it was 2017 and I was on a kayak out of the heads of Byron Bay. And I didn't know it at the time, but it was the migration season. And the whales just swam under and around my kayak and around and under and all. We were like on the whale superhighway. And we got back onto the sand. And the moment I put my feet on the sand, I said to my husband, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to take women on healing retreats to the humpback whales. And it was then that I'd also said yes to the piece about Lemuria through the Lemurian sisterhood, and all the information came flooding in. And I began to then channel what is now known as the Whale Unity Heart. And that was an easy process for me because I was already sitting as a medium and being able to channel through my body. So it was just an adjustment to understand this was the consciousness of the whale that was flowing through. This is their energy. They called themselves the Whale Unity Heart, and that's how it really began.
Thank you for following the whisper and for receiving the message. It was as if you were activated by those whales on the kayak.
Yes, exactly. That was my first physical activation in this life that I can recall. I have to say, there were many, many times that I had gone to places and worked where there were whales when there probably shouldn't have been whales. And they were there for me and showing me themselves in ways that were quite profound, but I wasn't ready to see. I wasn't ready to see it with my heart. I didn't hear them with the ears of my heart. I didn't see them with the eyes of my heart. And it just wasn't my time. And that's one of their biggest messages as well, which we'll talk about today, no doubt, is that everybody comes into their awakening and onto the path for them and feels what's resonant with their soul only when the time is right.
Only when the time is right. That's a beautiful reminder that
Yeah.
we have to be patient with ourselves and be in
Yes.
flow. And so there are so many listening that are connected to Lemuria. I would say almost all of us
Yes.
watching or listening this program are. And even if there are some that may not realize it yet, just that word Lemuria is a heart warmer, a heart melter for us. That right there is a deep indication that we have a connection to Lemuria. And so what do you know about the whales and Lemuria? What can you share about that connection?
Thank you. It's a very, very deep connection. Now, what I know now is that women, especially women, Men are feeling it too, of course, but the women who hold this beautiful consciousness now, who are awakening into their soul gifts, are awakening the gift that was their original Lemurian soul gift. Now, this is the information that I receive from my beloved whales, and for me, it seems absolutely true. When we were in Lemuria all those years ago, we were living with our soul gift fully intact. We knew who we were. We knew our goodness. We knew our gifts. And we were living as the multidimensional people. We understood that we were as good as the creator that created Lemuria, and we were nothing less than that. Now, I know when I was in Lemuria, my lifetime there, when I worked with the whales, that was my lineage. Now, I don't remember it being passed to me. I just remember doing it. I remember I have the vision of being with the whales. I have the vision of birthing women who would birth their babies into the water to the song of the whales, to the dolphins, to the crystalline waters there in Lemuria. That's my essence, my knowledge. Now, coming back into this life now, women are following the call of the whales as I followed the call of the whales. Now, what that is, it's reawakening our Lemurian soul gift. So now what we're doing together with the whales is rebirthing that Lemurian soul back into this life. So this is when people say the new Lemuria, I believe this is what that is. The new Lemuria is us, the ones who held the consciousness in Lemuria, waking up again, different points of light all over the world, and we're finding each other. So the word Lemuria means so many things to people, but most of all, what I hear is that it means they feel really at home. They feel just like a sense of, that feels right. And that means to me that my heart feels warm and full and I'm home. And that's because they are home. They're reconnecting with a part of themselves that is in there still, and it's bubbling up of something that they already know deep within their cells. And that's what the work with the whales does. It helps to bring that up. And so they understand their lineage, their Lemurian lineage, their lineage of light. And that's the gift they carry today. It's been the gift they've carried every single lifetime. However, now it's different because now we're working with Gaia to bring that out so that we can be a planet in ascension with a ascended race. And that's what we're doing. We're awakening, we're ascending, holding light in our bodies. And it's the Lemurian gift that we're reawakening again.
Wow, thank you for that beautiful expression of that. I can hear our audience asking how we would tune in and tap into our Lemurian gifts. And so, as you prepare to answer that question, I would like to say that we need to go back to when Lemuria went away. I hope you can share a little bit of that story from what your wisdom is on that. Because as we are reawakening it, we are coming back to a vibration that we had, that we lost. How did we lose that vibration? Can you share that with us?
Sure. So, first of all, being in touch with your Lemurian gift and how to reawaken it, and how we have lost the essence of that. So, what I know is that life is, well, obviously it's not the same. There's nothing like that time. However, it's coming back, and it just is so different now. Now, what I know is that, first of all, I'll talk about the gift, finding the essence of your gift, because that really is about the vibration of what it was and how we bring that back into our lives every day. Because it isn't in the short term ever going to be like that again. It's where we find ourselves and how we find that within our own hearts and our own souls that brings that Lemuria essence, the Lemurian essence back. So, our soul gift, how do we find it? In the work that I've done with so many women through the circles that I've held and the work with the whales and the retreats, what astounds me is that the gift that we had in Lemuria is the gift that is right underneath our noses. Now, it might be something that we take for granted. It might be something that most people aren't really aware that it's even a gift, but that's what it is. It's right there living with us in our everyday. Now, there are some, so we did different things in Lemuria. There were different lineages, different schools of women, schools of thought, but we were the ones who were responsible for the spiritual caretaking, the caregiving, the consciousness of Lemuria was held by the women, and that was known by the men. That was our role. So I feel that today, as there are so many women and men awakening to their spiritual gifts, and not even some are practicing, some are healers, some are authors, some are midwives, some are nurses, some are teachers, some are well known and have these platforms that they can speak from, and some are just doing it quietly in their own homes, in their own communities. And all of those are perfectly right and needed right now. And the men then knew the women's goodness. They held them in that high regard. I feel very, very strongly that that is a big piece that has been lost for many, many years, is that the inherent spiritual knowledge that women carry, and this is not saying men don't carry it either. However, I think we would agree that there's a larger proportion of women who are doing the spiritual work, and there are men who really still hold those women in high esteem. They're these men who are understanding their sacred masculine and that they have a special role to hold the space for the divine feminine. And together is how we work. So I feel that the essence that was lost is that we lost our goodness. Now, we don't need to talk about the many, many years that we were punished for having the gifts. That happened, doesn't happen anymore, but that's left us with a bit of a legacy that we sometimes are just afraid to speak out. And you know what? It takes courage to understand that that is a gift of mine and I'm here with a special light, and it is my role in the world to shine it. And that may not be that I have to have a social media following with thousands and thousands of people. I don't have to be holding retreats. I don't have to be a famous author. I don't have to have a platform at all, but I do have to acknowledge I have a light within me that is brighter than anything else outside of me, and I am here to shine it. And when we understand that, and when we can see glimmers of our own soul light, and gradually, but day by day, just little by little, hold more of that light within us every day, that then gives permission for those around us to do the same. It gives permission for our children, our partners, our communities, our workplaces to understand that I see something different in you. I don't know what it is, but I like it. It makes me feel comfortable, and I'm going to do the same even though they don't know what it is yet. The ripple effect is real and has a very, very big impact on the light that we all hold in this world. And that's the essence that we're coming back to. When we find it within ourselves, we tend to see it then reflected outside of ourselves, and we end up moving in different circles. You know, you'll know yourself, Lauren, that when you started to do this work and work with people who are of the light and like-minded, you just find them accumulating and attracting, and the circle grows and the circle grows. And that's what we need to do. It's just our little pods all over the world, our little pods of light that are cropping up and holding that light. And we do find each other. It's very important to know that you do find your soul tribe once you acknowledge your own light. It's very painful when you don't have a tribe, but it does come.
Thank you for that remembrance and that reminder that our light tribe does come. And it's amazing how this technology, Zoom that we're on right now, or our connection, the internet, it's really interesting to see how we are guided to one another and how we can find ourselves all over the planet, and how
Yeah.
the old relationships have kind of faded away just to make room for new ones that come along. It's a vibrational shift. So, all right, you had mentioned that right under our noses
Yes.
are our gifts. And it's really interesting. So, for those who are looking back and thinking of their gifts right now, like right under our noses, I can personally think of a couple, but yet what I'm finding is my own judgment comes in and stomps its muddy feet all over that gift. And then accepting other people's judgment of my singing or toning, for example. But yet, what I'm discovering is I'm witnessing that, for example, when I tone, there are miracles that happen. And so then I can remember myself on the shores of Lemuria in Hawaii, toning to the whales and the dolphins on the shores, toning to each other. So, how do we begin to work with the whales, make a connection with the whales to uncover these gifts?
Mm.
Would you say that is something right under my nose? I mean, if I'm toning to a bird who flew into the window and it seems like it's gone, like it's not alive anymore,
Yeah.
but then I keep toning and it pops up on its feet and then eventually it flies away. I'm like, yes, that's something. Is that a gift? Is this what we're talking about?
Yeah, absolutely, Lauren. I feel that there's more there. So when you're talking about Tony, for example, I'm feeling it's all to do with your communication and your throat and how you held the space, because it is what you do. So there's so much more there than just the toning, for example, but that beautiful toning and the acknowledgement that the out of your body comes and flows energy that is capable of healing is super powerful. Now, how would we relate that to someone who doesn't even know that they have that? They're just awakening that spirituality within themselves. And I would say that there's been many different kind of threads that I've seen in the work that I've done with women who are awakening gifts that they didn't even know they had. So, for instance, there's been work with rainbows and looking at the different colored lights and the essences of what comes in from those lights. There's even been a man who works with more scientific, really, really scientific formulations and things like that that he's bringing into technology, which when you go back to the Lemurian time, you feel him in a hut with the stars on the roof of the hut, and it's layers of these different. I'll try and put it in a different way. For instance, if there was women in Lemuria who worked with the essences, and this is essences of plants that were distilled in a completely different way and worked into medicine for their people in a different way. A lot of the time, those women are now working with flower petals, often doing flower readings, making things like rose water, understanding that they can heal themselves in their garden. So, there's so many different layers. It's when you begin to look into the space and feel into the space, you really begin to understand this is multidimensional, and that one experience keeps giving and giving and giving over time, but it changes and morphs slightly as the incarnation that it lands in. So I mentioned about this hut, for instance, and I want to use that example. I'm being guided to talk about this. So there is structures that we would live in that were very rudimental, very basic. However, what they did and how they harnessed the energy of the earth and how they harnessed the energy of the sun, the oceans, the seasons, the stars was so different to what we do today, but they still harnessed it. And in some ways, because we've been affected by the great things that have happened with technology, but it's also removed us from trusting our own basic instinct with our healing gifts and with our knowledge. So you talked about your instinct to tone your love and your life force into that bird, and you knew and you saw the miracle happen. And we have forgotten that we can do those things. So this is one of the reasons that our gifts under our noses are often not activated, because we have forgotten that it's even within our capability, or it's our birthright, let alone that it is our birthright to have these gifts and to know them and to live them. So for instance, the stars, we study the stars now and we call it astronomy, and how they play out in our lives and we call it astrology. And they certainly did that then. And I have seen in my meditations and being guided to look at a hut inside, lying on the floor, looking up at the hut, and how they were able to map the stars onto the roof of the hut, that helped them to understand how to plot and how to go in the ocean, and what happened when the seasons changed, how it moved, what it meant for them. And that's how they studied. I've seen essence of stars being drawn into little water to purify and to bring that starry essence. And we do that now. People are doing that with moonlight water, and water that's being enhanced by the stars. And sometimes it's seen not in these circles but in other circles as a little bit strange and weird, and how could that possibly have an effect? But the effect is that we are vibrational beings, and that's what we're rediscovering. And when we discover that we're vibrational beings and we react very, very strongly to vibrations, then we can accept things like water's essences into our bodies and know that they have a very, very big impact, that we are subtle, where our energetic body is far larger than our physical body. So we can be more accepting of those things when we understand how they affect our energies. So now, getting back to your question about how I'm getting back to the essence and the vibration of Lemuria that was lost as well, but I also want to talk more about these gifts, the soul gifts, and how the whales can help us to find those, how we connect with those now. So what I would say, first of all, for those of you who are feeling drawn to the whales and feeling the call, the reason you're feeling the call and wondering how to answer that now more than ever is that Gaia needs us to be awake. We need to be, for Gaia to be a planet in ascension, which she is, to become an ascended planet, and she's definitely on the pathway to becoming an ascended planet. The race of people living on Gaia must also be an ascended race. Now, it's going to take a long time. It's going to take thousands of years. It's already taken, the time, but where the trajectory is towards the light now. And so more of us are feeling the call. Now, to awaken that, or to answer that call, it's just about going within. So many times we look outside of ourselves to find how to answer what's really a deep, deep calling of our heart, a deep calling of our soul. And it is only ever within that we're going to find that call. You might look outside yourself and find a teacher who will then direct you back inside, and that's where you need to be. Answering the call of the whales is always an inside job. So I can take you to the whales and take you heart to heart, eye to eye, belly to belly, and that is out of this world amazing. But first of all, the energetic work is up to you. You must answer them energetically. Now, it just takes some time, but it's not hard. It's just dedication and love, and from you, and a dedication to know them, and a dedication to say yes. And when Spirit knows that you've said yes, and when you commit to your yes every day, even just 15 minutes a day, saying yes to Spirit, saying yes to the consciousness of the whales, you will find them drawing closer and closer and closer to you until you're receiving your own guidance, your own messages, and they will always be for you, for your highest growth, for your highest evolving, your highest evolvement, is that a word? Evolution is a better word, and for the highest expression of your soul in this lifetime right now. So you'll know the loving guidance when it comes through. It's full of love and compassion. And what it does, it directs you to love yourself and see yourself as perfectly whole and complete right now with everything you already have. And that's the loving guidance from the whales. So for people who are wanting to connect with them, very important that you say, yes, I am dedicated. And then you make a space every day. Have a candle. I always suggest have a special candle that you light when you're going in to sit in your time with the whales. Take something that you can hold if you need to. Take a crystal to hold if you feel that's going to connect you, or a flower. And just sit there with the light. Close your eyes and just breathe and ask them to step closer. And they will. They absolutely will. And one more thing is to let go of any expectation about how you think it's going to feel, because it's different for everybody. And it may not be the consciousness of the whales that steps in. It may be one of your guides. It could be a loved one, a deceased loved one who comes close to you. And that's beautiful too. But it's still your time with Spirit. And if your intention is to connect with the whales, it will happen. Just set your intentions and then sit in the receiving mode, which is very different to the mode when you're asking or when you're feeling like, I really want to know. That's not the countenance that you go and sit in your time with Spirit. You sit in your time with Spirit, you're open to receive, knowing that your light is shining bright, and it's brighter than any light from outside of you, and ask that they show you, and they will. So I hope that helps in how they can connect. It's a beautiful stepping stone.
Thank you for that. I think everyone is doing that as you were speaking, and that's almost like a meditation in itself, and getting quiet and allowing that to come in. It's really wonderful. Okay, so tell us about the Lemurian unity invocations, if you would.
Oh, I'd love to. Thank you, Lauren. Yes, so the Lemurian Unity invocations, it was the 8th of August. So the Lionsgate portal is always a very, very special portal for me and the whales, that they first began to drip through what is now a system of 11 beautiful symbols that have a sound. They have a celestial harmonic. So there's a mantra. You can sign them. You can hold them on your body, bring them into your, they're always in your energy fields when you begin working with them, but they began to come through on the 8th of the 8th in 2017. Now, they first came through in a meditation, and I understood that it was something profound and very, very different. So I'll explain how the first one came through. And the first one is called Shiel El. So it's Shiel El, and it is the name that they gave to the universal spiral that came through the grandmother whale's eye, her grey, beautiful eye that was spiraling. Now, this universal spiral, Shiel El, connects us to the let's say, connects through you to where you're being called to work. So it works differently for everybody. And what it does, it's like a walking library of information for you to connect through to the work you are here to do. Your soul is here to do on this planet, this lifetime. Now, the way that the share allele works is it's a spiral that works from the outside to the inside. So it's going from the outside to the inside. And then it's different. This is a difficult one to explain without seeing a video or without seeing a drawing of it. But because the spiral is three-dimensional, if you tip it on the side, you're working from the outside to the inside, and then from the inside to the outside. So it's like a cone, two cones that meet in the middle. Is that clear? The large part of the spiral's on the outside and the inner parts are kind of in the middle. And they work through your body. So you might feel the start with the share coming through your heart chakra space and through the middle of your body and out through your back. You can feel it from the top of your head moving up to your crown, through your crown and up to your highest chakras. It places itself over all your energy centers and also on your hands, your knees, your feet. And it's this very beautiful, very simple invocation, but it takes you very, very deeply. So I'll explain how it came through and then how the rest of the invocations came through and why we have them. So first of all, why is because it was time that we awaken these gifts. So these invocations are to awaken your Lemurian soul gift and help to bring it to life today and not in a woo-woo way. And this is the key. We understand the woo-woo talk and we love to go there, but many people, most people, 99% of the people in the world, I'd say, don't understand it. They don't like it. It's off-putting. So the Wales teachings began to very strongly change in 2022 to say that, right, we've got this now, and now it needs to be given in such a balanced way that the women and the men who are holding these invocations can bring them into their lives in a balanced way so as not to frighten anyone else. So we're showing up in our light. We're able to walk and talk our gift in our everyday lives without woo-woo. And other people don't necessarily know what it is that we've got, but it's a light. It's something special that makes them feel comfortable enough to activate their own light. So then the ripple effect starts. Now, the Lemurian unity invocations came through when I was in meditation. The first one happened when 5 grandmother whales came around me and they just pushed me up out of my body into the night sky where I was in the stars, in the black sky. Then I kept going up. I felt like I was going higher and higher through the Lionsgate portal until I landed in the eye of this ancient grandmother whale. When I landed in her eye and was in that spiral, I knew this was not a meditation. I was fully awake, that it was something happening. So I just allowed it to happen and I loved it. And then when I finally came back into my body fully, I just started to journal what had happened. Now, some very beautiful things happened then. I saw this whale that she had a long, long rostrum, that long front part of the whale that we would maybe think is their nose, was very long, nearly like a trunk, but not as long like an elephant's trunk and a bit stubbier, but much longer than whales that we know today. And something else that really happened was that when I was with her, she took me into her eye and I saw and felt the spiral, but I saw 2 eyes. Now, when you're with a whale or when a whale might swim in front of you, you don't normally see both eyes of a whale. If they're just swimming across in front of you, you'll just see one eye. So I came out of that activation with a very strong desire and a knowing that I need to see the two whales' eyes. I don't know why that was so strong, but it really was this powerful uh, driving force in me that the next time I go, I need to see these two eyes of a whale. So I began to then have dreams, and the next dream came in was the next night when they told me the name of the Shielelil, and then I knew how I had to allow it to drip in, that it was going to come in pieces. And the reason that is because if I was to receive all of those 11 invocations, there are actually 12, but the 12th one is needs to be given in person. So we work with only the 11 to start with. And if I was to receive that 11, there's no way my physical body could hold it. There just isn't a way that I could have received that whole download of the modality, which is a modality for healing and awakening in one go. So it dripped through. It dripped through in the space of 8, 9, 10 months. And even now, I sometimes feel there's more coming through. But we have these beautiful invocations now solidly to work with. And so that's how they came. I'm going to circle back to the two eyes in a minute, but I want to talk about what they do for us and how gentle they are, but how deeply they work with us as well. So the Shielelil helps us to understand our own soul work. It gives us access to a beautiful library, like an Akashic library that we carry that is already with us in our soul. And it's just a matter of us allowing more soul light, more of our own soul's light to be held in our bodies. That is the process of our own awakening. There's a second invocation called the Hakea Inopo, which is so beautiful about bringing everything about ourselves into our heart center with love and compassion, teaching us self-love and such deep compassion for ourselves and our journeys as the whales have for us, so that we bring the masculine and the feminine, we bring the loved and the pieces that we don't like into our heart center. And we also bring all the information from the stars and all the information from Gaia into our heart center. And that's where we shine the light on it for healing and integration. And the whales say about this beautiful invocation that if we have a sacred contract with them, which we do, to bring this work alive again and to understand our soul gifts, then why would they love only our good bits? They love all the bits, especially the parts that we don't love about ourselves. So they say to us, please, can you just try and love those bits just as much as we do? So they ask us if we have soul contracts with spirit to fulfill a work with spirit on the planet today, then why would they not love the whole of us? And why do we not love the whole of us? So that's a really beautiful one. There is another one called the Shielelil Il Cantor. And I'm not going to talk about all of them, but I'm going to give some of the really beautiful and very impactful invocations. This one, the Shielelil Il Cantor, came to me when I was with a singer whale in Moorea. And when I got out of the water, it was like the activation actually for me was so strong it wasn't comfortable, but it was really, really time. And this invocation helps us to bring closure to things that are not comfortable for us. Now, it can go as deeply as it needs to go, but generally, and there are certainly people who are carrying trauma, and I'm not saying this is going to heal those kinds of things, but as part of their healing, it would definitely help. But for me, I'll talk about my example with this one because it was something small but impactful in my life, is that there was talk around difficult conversations. I would shy away from having courageous conversations because it was very, for me, I don't want to have that confrontation. I don't like to be in those situations. However, it allowed me to bring a voice, bring my whole voice, even when my knees were shaking and my throat was, scratchy and my voice wasn't clear. Bring a voice with light and with truth and with confidence to bring a closure to a situation that was on repeat cycle in my life. So these are things that happen in our lives that don't serve us anymore. So the only way through to the closure of situations is to bring them to the light of all possibilities. And you have to understand and know every single piece and part that you bring to those situations for you to bring the light and to see it and allow it to be transmuted in your life. So that's a big one. There are other very beautiful ones called the Tahahimoneo, which shares on the breath the lineage that you came from and finds your circle, your tribe. There is one called Ia Osa Oranu that helps us with sound healing, light language, helps us to understand how the sound frequencies are held in our cells. So these are the invocations that we work through in the system from 1 to 11. And when we hold them in our bodies and hold them in our energy fields, they just reverberate there in such a beautiful, gentle way that lift our connections to the whales, lift our connections to all that is, and just help us feel comfortably in line with spirit every day so that we can walk our talk and, not shy away from being the spiritual being in a 3D place. So that's what it is. It's about being able to bring your whole self every day in a heart-centered way, knowing that you're firmly connected to your spirit, you're firmly connected to your mission on earth, no matter what you're doing at the present time, that you still are a light bearer, a light holder, and that is why you're here. So I hope that gives just a little bit about the invocations.
Thank you. It sounds so supportive, energetically supportive,
Yeah,
holding our light and for
yes,
being courageous in sharing that light, in sharing our voice and sharing our wisdom. That is how we bring forward this Lemurian superpower that we've had and that we
exactly.
and so I know you do classes, webinars, and that's all part of your special offer that we're going to talk about in a moment. But that's how you assist people in cultivating and rediscovering these Lemurian aspects of ourselves with the help of the whales. It's so
Yes.
beautiful, and we can
Yeah.
feel that energy. We can feel that vibration as you were sharing those Lemurian invocations, Lemurian unity invocations. So you also mentioned the Lemurian unity light language, and we have
Yes.
few moments. It would be, can you take a minute or two and share some of that? Because that, I think that we're so excited to feel that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be very, very happy to share that, Lauren. So the light language came to me in Moorea, actually, on a very special island. And it's a lovely way to connect this in because something I sat with when question you asked me, which we haven't got to, Lauren, was about the when Lemuria kind of came to an end. Now, I don't have remembrance of it ending. I don't have that remembrance. I never feel that sense of tragedy. However, I do know that I must have made it off the island because I feel very, very connected to the island of Moorea. Now, I must have made it off the island or I've had another incarnation there. I certainly have had that. And when I went into channel and asked the whales, is this the New Lemuria? Was this where my tribe escaped? Did we manage to make it there? Because we had time. It didn't just sink overnight. We had time. We knew it was sinking as the guidance. We had time to leave. Now, what they said to me was they sort of laughed at me and said, write the word Morea. So I wrote it down, M-O-O, moo, ria, muria, Morea, muria, lemuria. Yes, yes,
Wow.
yes,
And not to mention that it's shaped like a heart.
that's right. Yeah, yep. So when I was there, with the beautiful Trish Regan and Doug Hackett, who were my mentors in the whale swimming space and my very, very dear beloved friends. They led us down to a sacred place where a temple was, Heiau, and I felt myself being guided to walk down these stairs really, really slowly. Now, I was following in an ancient's footsteps. The rest of the group didn't go where I was. And when I went down there, I was guided to sit on this stream out on this rock. And I was doing these things with my hands. Things were coming through. My hands were making actions. I don't normally do light language with my hands, but this day it was happening around my third eye. And I let it happen. And I eventually went back up the stairs. Now, Trish took a photo of me. It's on my website on a blog, and I'm happy to share it for those who want to see it. And she took a photo of me that moment, and there's a golden ball of light on my head. And then the next photo, it's dripping down over my third eye. And it's not, it's a spirit light. It's this huge gold ball. And that's the moment my light language really began to come in. Now, I'm going to start to close my eyes and feel the language coming that I'll share with you. And I just want you to also feel this is language that is language of creation. These are energy words, so they don't have necessarily a meaning, but they'll have a feeling. And they don't have a word for word translation for the sounds that they make, but you'll feel it in your body. Now, when anyone's been exposed to light language, they might start to cry, they might feel excited, they might get a little bit cold or hot, and that's all normal. It's just your reaction. But do be gentle with yourself, and especially if you're replaying this over and over again, be gentle. Don't do it when you're driving. Make sure you're drinking lots of water and herbal teas to support yourself. And just know that the light language works on a cellular level. So it will be moving and changing the light that you hold in your cells and allowing you to have a release, which might be a bubble up of a knowing that's been waiting to come. And so that's the intention as we move into this beautiful passage of the Lemurian, the language of Lemurian unities, that you feel and sit with this and allow it to bring into your heart and a little bit closer into your knowing, where your mind can understand, even though your mind won't understand the language, that you have a gift, you have a light, and allow it, please, to shine. Takara sir shokomakara kinen haide hore. Mikora kanakasate si de sho. De sho, de sho, de sho, de sho. So makakaile ke didi sho kana makore. Makaile kide na karasi. Makaile or kinini iti aidu kuro. Mi kalakadaisi. Masho kalakarana ite tere. Mo kalai de e. Ite tera kana e. Mokora kana ihe e. Mokora kana na si de si. Mokora kana na isho. Mosho. Mosho, mosho, mosho. Mi kura kona na e. I ara o sona na ke ere. Mi kora kana na isere. Mosho kala e. Shelala kanana irisi. Mopopor kanana itete. Popona akale irisi. Mo kolokarara I e ere. Sho, 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 sho. Take a deep breath. Mira karana da siti sisi kapo o ile karana na akire ba mono koro o to da sire si. Mai kirene ire. Harare hopo o. Hopo okoro okoro. Shoro shoro shoro. Mira kanana I, kanana e. Dosho, dosho, dosho. Just taking a deep breath now. Place your hands on your heart so you can bring yourself back in. Make sure you feel grounded. And know that that language has gone deep within your soul and your cells. It's awakened something, a knowing within you that might make you smile, might make you feel warm inside. Awakening your light so you're able to see it yourself. Thank you, Lorraine.
Thank you, thank you, thank you for that energy transmission and activation. I felt that within my being. It feels like home. Isn't that amazing? It sounds spectacular, and
It,
there's wisdom in there.
yes, lots of wisdom.
Lots
And
of-
as I said, there's no word for word translation. It's only that you know it, you feel it, don't you? You feel it within your soul.
Yes, again, the word home, home, and oneness and unity. Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are feeling so happy and so connected at this point. And I hope that everyone rides this vibration, carries this vibration, returns to this vibration in the face of everything. This is it. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. That is it. Returning to this vibration in the face of everything. And you do it in a balanced way. And that's how you do it, because we do have to be. We're in our, what the whales say is in our mastery means we are 3D people who are walking in our bodies on the ground, mixing it up with the other 3D people with access, 24/7 access to the divine. And when we know this and we operate like this is us in our mastery. We have to be.
We have to be. We have to be, and not let anything shake us from that mastery. And so this is what brings such hope as well as we move through seemingly challenging times. We have the light within us, as you've said, as the whale said, and wow, remember that, hold it, shine it, recognize it. Thank you so much, Latina. We are feeling lit up and confident, really confident. So I want you to share ways that people can work with you. You did mention the Lemurian Unity invocations. That's part of your special offer. I invite those
Yes.
watching and listening to simply scroll down on this webpage and check out the offerings from Latina. Also, wherever you're watching this, in the description box is a link to the special offer that we're sharing right now. You're going to be doing a webinar as well. That sounds
Yes.
good and supportive. Oh my gosh, tell us about this.
Yes. Yes. So the first one is an offer that everybody can join in, men, women, children. And we've priced it really affordably so everybody can join. It's a beautiful circle where we'll come together, and it's a circle that I will facilitate. and there'll be Q&A, and it's really a spirit-led circle. The whales will be there guiding us, and it's for you to feel your connections back to the whales, back to your spirit. It's fully recorded so that you can keep it and replay it again and again and again. And so I invite everybody to join that. It's very warm, comforting, beautiful, and nourishing. And as I said, spirit led, and you'll feel the guidance come through. I will go into channel. There'll be meditation. It'll be a quantum guided meditation by the whales. There'll be light language. So there'll be activations in that circle as well. And then the second offer is a do it yourself through the Lemurian Unity invocations. So there's a beautiful little ebook with all of the channeled messages, the channeled stories and lessons. And there's a little sort of like a card deck as a PDF so that you can see easily the invocations at a snapshot, learn how to write them yourselves, learn how to understand at a glance what each one means, and then go deeper into the stories with the book. And that can take you up to 12 months if you worked with one invocation, a month. So that's a do-it-yourself model. And if you choose that offer, you also get the circle as well. Now, for the people who come through the Lemurian Unity invocations and want the do-it-yourself model, with that comes a Facebook group that I will be in every day to support you, so you won't be on your own. And the community of people who are working with and loving the invocations will also be in that Facebook group. So that's our invocations family, really, who'll come together there. And then the third offer is the Lemurian Unity invocations done with me. So as your soul guide and mentor through your ascension journey through the invocations, there is a couple of times that I'll come in and have that beautiful mentoring and coaching through the invocations with you, as well as getting the first circle, the Facebook group, the PDF, the book, the cards. You also get that connection with me through the invocations so that I can assist you with your journey, and the whales can assist you with your journey. So there's 3 different touch points so we can have all different people access the invocations. That was the aim. Different prices.
It's beautiful because it progresses. So if someone just wants the wisdom circle, then they can come in on that. But then you can also get the wisdom circle with the next offer and the Lemurian Unity invocations, which that just seems really wonderful. But then also the spiritual mentoring with you and those Lemurian invocations. And it's a really beautiful package. It's very affordable, and I know it's supportive in many ways for people to reclaim their Lemurian superpowers, let's say.
Yes, that's what it is. The
Yeah.
Lemurian soul gift. It is their superpower right under their noses.
All right. Well, if you are
Yeah.
interested in learning more about that, again, check it out and get excited because this is a beautiful opportunity to work with Latina and the whales and your soul aspect, your Lemurian soul aspect. So wonderful. Thank you for that. And I just want to say for those who need assistance, there's a 2-payment plan available so that you can take part in this. It's a beautiful program. Latina, thank you for, wow, I'm still buzzing from that light language. I encourage people to go back and listen to that again and to explore their Lemurian soul gifts. And again, I'll say one more time, if anyone has ever resonated with the word Lemuria, or if you've ever questioned what in the world is Lemuria, or if you've ever loved Hawaii, or if you've ever loved dolphins, if you love crystals, all of this, go deeper into that and explore this Lemurian aspect that you are. You've been awakened in this call today, and we love that fact because we are here to bring the new Lemuria. Latina, I would love for you to
Yes.
share any final comments that you have on this.
Thank you, Loren. Yes, something that's really wanting to come out for everybody is that we talked about time and it being the right time now, and that what I want to share with you is that if you have tried many, many things before, you might have tried you might have had a healing practice, you might have been a massage therapist, you might have tried to hold online circles and it just hasn't worked. And what I want to say is that all of those things are now tools in your spiritual jewel box.
Mhm.
Now, they're never wasted. And quite often it is that they were just little steps along the way to you discovering that your light is not something you can learn. Your light doesn't, well, no, sorry, you do learn about your own light. Your light is not something that you switch on by taking another degree, by making sure you've got a social media following, or those little outside steps are not what turns on your light. Now, your inner light is something that when you uncover what that is deep inside of you, your very special superpower, your Lemurian soul gift, that is going to come up and stick with you. So this is something that will stick and you will know this is not just something that's like a passing phase. It's something that is so deep within your heart and soul because you have carried the same light for all of your physical lifetimes, hundreds, if not thousands. Now it's time that you're being held to bring that to life now. There is actually an invocation called the Arun Tai that does that. It helps us to understand that there's this been thread the whole way through our lives. And that's it's pulled through all of our lives. That's our soul gift. So
Mhm.
when you awaken that one, it will stick. So please don't have any fear that, oh, this is just another thing, because it's your special thing. All those other things will become your tools and stepping stones to enhance your beautiful light. So when the time is right for you to know your light, you will know it with every fiber of your being. So I just wanted to share, feel really confident in that fact.
Yes, and welcome home to your Lemurian self
Yes.
once again, and honor it and embrace it. Yes, and shine that essence. Okay, Latina Russell of the Whales of Lemuria, this has been so lovely with you today. Thank you so much for your light. You have helped us radiate more of ours. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Lorraine. It's been such a pleasure to be here. I honor this space that you've created, and I'm just so excited to have been part of it. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Latina. And thank you
Lorraine.
everyone for watching. Again, check out this opportunity to work with Latina and the Whales of Lemuria. Thank you, everyone. This has been a presentation of New Earth One Network, your home for New Earth living. Access information, education, and videos on living from the heart in unity consciousness. Visit newearth1.com.